Capitol Hill lawmakers are racing to avoid a government shutdown with federal funding expected to run out later this month.
All the federal agencies are expected to run out of money as of September 30th. Lawmakers have set their sights on a continuing resolution, but they remain far apart on what should be included in that short-term spending plan.
Let's check in with CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion. She joins us now from Washington. Nikole, the House isn't back until next week, but there's already some growing concerns about the potential for a government shutdown. Right now, where do things stand?
Yeah, that's right. Well, keep in mind that lawmakers have to do something before the end of the month. As you know, the Senate just returned this week, but the House isn't back until next week. So that really just leaves a couple of days to get these matters settled. And as you mentioned, right now, the consensus is to move forward with some type of short-term funding bill, continuing resolution, CR, as it's better known. But there could even be some hiccups with that, simply because there is some talk that over on the House side, Speaker McCarthy reportedly wants to split off any kind of Ukraine funding from a short-term package and only include, for instance, money for disaster relief in addition to funding the government. He also would like to see additional money for border security. But splitting off that Ukraine aid is really a sticking point for a lot of senators, both Democratic and Republican, because this comes at a critical time in the war between Ukraine and Russia. And so many senators, particularly Republican senators, would like that Ukraine funding at least included. They believe that that funding is important. The Biden administration calling for some $40 million. So from that standpoint, senators don't believe that these items should necessarily be decoupled, which could potentially lead to a logjam. And then if you add into the mix, of course, you have some House Republicans who also want to tie government funding to a potential impeachment inquiry of the president. And so that could yet be another sticking point that lawmakers, both in the House and Senate, will have to resolve. Many senators this week making clear that they do not want to see a government shutdown, and a lot of them suggesting that they don't necessarily think any kind of impeachment inquiry should be tied to government funding. So a lot to resolve before the end of the month.
Yeah, and we haven't even mentioned, Nikole, the other sticking point of the Auburn football coach turned senator, Tommy Tuberville, holding up military promotions in the Pentagon until there is a revised abortion policy in that department. How is leadership dealing with that issue?
Yeah, well, that's another deadline that will be approaching at the beginning of October when the term of Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Mark Milley ends. And so, of course, there is a replacement who's been nominated, C.Q. Brown. However, at this point in time, Leader Schumer has made clear that he does not intend to hold a floor vote on that nomination, that he believes that Tuberville should relent and lift his hold on all of these military promotions. But right now, it appears Tuberville isn't budging.
Nikole, everyone in Washington is talking about Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and his health after he froze in public twice. I understand you have some new reporting about what he's told his fellow Republicans about his health this week. What can you share with us?
Yeah, that's right. Well, CBS News has learned through a source familiar with that meeting that Leader McConnell held with GOP senators yesterday that he didn't really take any questions about his health, but he was very candid. He said that he was a concussion survivor, and he also acknowledged that he lacks energy and he's sleeping more than he has. And so I asked a few senators who were at that meeting what their thoughts were on the leader's comments. Take a listen.
Senator McConnell has the full confidence of me as a leader and as the majority of the conference.
I think the older you are, the harder it is to recover from them. The more concussions you've had, the harder it is to recover from them as well. But we have his back. I have Leader McConnell's back. I'm going to support him.
And I also spoke a short time ago with Senator Rand Paul, who has said that he believes that the attending physician here at the Capitol made a mistake with his diagnosis of the leader, that this is not dehydration, that he believes something more is going on. Senator Paul has suggested perhaps a focal neurologic event, and the senator told me just a short time ago that he still stands by that even after McConnell's explanation to the conference yesterday. So while some senators like Senator Paul still have questions about Leader McConnell's diagnosis, you know, most senators continue to rally behind him, understanding that he may continue to have challenges from this concussion that he suffered after having a fall earlier this year.
Nikole Killion in Washington, thanks.
Thanks, Nikole.
You bet.